Good evening, everyone. Today is March the 16th, 2021. Welcome to another edition of the Marvin Bennett Jr. Show. As usual, most gracious and heavenly Father, we thank you, God, for yet another opportunity of prayer. We thank you, God, for allowing us to see this day. Father, I thank you, God, for our viewers. I thank you, God, as well for my guests. I ask you, God, that you will bless our conversation. Let it be healing to people. Let it be a good conversation. And let us be free. And once again, God, I ask you, God, that you will prove yourself as a comforter and a keeper for all those that have lost and people that are grieving right now, people that are dealing with depression. Oh God, I just ask you, God, that you will love them, wrap them in your loving arms, oh God, and let them know that they do matter. Give them hope again, God. In the precious name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks again for tuning in, everybody. As usual, keep the comments and stuff coming on the live feed. And then, if y'all got any questions for my guest tonight, we'll answer those questions. You got any comments? Just be a part of the show as usual. Tonight,
I lose you, bro.
as well as Helena, Mrs. Helena Hamlet. Happy born day, Helena. Welcome to the 45 and Better Club. We do it nice, and it feels good. It's always good to be a part of that club where you don't look like it. So that's always a blessing in itself.
Right.
Having said that, um, I want to give a shout out. Oh yeah, and condolences to marvelous Marvin Hagler, my namesake, his family, his widow. We lost a great one over the weekend. This dude was impeccable. If you don't know the story of who Marvin Hagler is, I would encourage you to do so. Do yourself a service and go research who this man was. This man was the heavyweight champ. Well, not the heavyweight, but he was the division champ, I believe, middleweight for 12 years. 12, no, yeah, 12 years, 12 title defenses. And the one fight that he did lose, it was by a draw. So he technically never lost a fight. He never actually been knocked out. So that speaks volumes. And we're talking about somebody that had over 65, close to 70 fights for his career. So, rest in peace, rest in power to marvelous Marvin Hagler. We thank you for your talent. We thank you for sharing your gift with us and helping us feel better about ourselves as young black men. With that being said, I want to introduce tonight's guest. This brother right here is special to me. Like we don't go back like all some of the previous guests that I had on the show. Back to high school and all that did. But this is one of those godly connections that I always appreciate. You know what I mean? I actually had a conversation with Daniel earlier last week, and I was talking about me and Daniel. We always talk about how we both from Jersey, and we used to probably have mass services together and different concerts, music events, and whatnot. But it took us coming down to North Carolina to actually link up and become family. Right. So I always try to tell people, man, it ain't about the years in service, but I also like that God, what I call God's divine time. Like he knew when we needed to link up, when we was going to build this bond, and it might not be all those years, but bro, you just as valuable to me as my blood brothers, man. And I want you to know from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you and the man that you are. Not just the man that you are, but also the brother that you are to me, man. So with that being said, I got tonight's guest is my brother in Christ, my man Mitchell Blue.
Bless you, man.
Mitch.
Hey, but listen, it's good to be on with you tonight, Marv, man. Again, I appreciate the invitation, man, and just the opportunity to share and build a little bit, man. It's not, like you said, it's not that we get to chat often, man, but the thing I love is that when we do actually connect, man, we pick up right where we left off. So that's one of the things, man, is a sign of like true brotherhood, true friendship. It's nothing like space and time that separates it, man. But when we connect, it's always good. Sit down, break bread, man, talk a little bit, share a little bit, and just be there for each other, man. Like
no doubt.
Life happens for all of us, right? And there are times where all of us go through different seasons and different places in our lives. So it's good to know you got a brother that, hey, you know, I can just call and be like, bro, I don't need you to fix nothing. I just need to vent.
Yeah.
that
Exactly.
is good like that. You know, they ain't judging you after the fact. It's like, hey, bro, I understand where you at. Whatever you need, I'm here. So good, man. It's just good to have that connection, man. So glad we could come and share tonight. And just
man. How's the wife and the kids?
Man, the wife and the kids are good, man. I'm hoping they don't come down and interrupt the flow or whatever. I know she won't, but sometimes the kids get a little antsy. They want to drop in, and so yeah, it get a little different. But I think we'll be all right though.
I was thinking about before the show started when knowing that you was gonna be on, and I was like, you know, you one of those definitions of a girl dad. You know, at the Chloe pass, they talked about the girl dad, and I got tired of seeing brothers. I'm real finicky. I got tired of seeing brothers with sons. Like, let's clear this up. A girl dad is a father of daughters only. Yeah. If you have a son, you are not considered as a girl dad.
Come on.
You know what I mean? Let's use proper etiquette when we use these different words and these catchphrases. So I thought about it. I was like, I said, my man Mitch, he is the definition of a good husband, but he's also a girl dad.
For real. So, and I'm like the girl dad, the teenage girls right now, bro. So this is a different season for brother.
I know, I already know, man.
Listen,
I used to love teasing Jermaine. And I said I knew the day was gonna come when I was gonna be able to get on YouTube, bro.
Hey, bro.
Anytime you ready to go get that permit, boy, I'll drive you there.
Listen, I'm trying to tell you, because they need to know that dude up there crazy. He can play no games. So you know, you go to that house, you got to come correct.
Yeah. And let me know when we get to that stage so I can come over and do the Will Smith and Martin.
Hey, straight up. I'm in the listen, I don't got handguns. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the long guns. I'm gonna pull out that 12 gauge. I'm gonna let you hear it. Like clack, clack. Hey, bruh. We talking about the little holes. We talking about little hole in the front, big hole in the back type situation.
That creates bigger holes.
That's it. Yeah, man, bruh.
Yeah, that's funny, man.
Yeah. So
yeah, man. But I wanted to tell everybody too that's tuning, man. After the show tonight, I don't know how many of you guys been checking it out, but they've been doing something on ABC called Soul of a Nation.
Yeah.
And it's various stories. It's wide and various the stories. But one of the stories that I seen that got me interested in the show was a good clip, but I actually watched the second episode, and they talked about this brother named Charles Magruder. Charles Magruder. And I won't tell y'all all of it about him, but I'll tell you the overall gist. I won't tell you his story. But Charles Magruder was a slave in 1855 that he was literally a breeder.
Yeah.
What his slave master would do is he would have him impregnate all the enslaved women that was on his, but he would also lease them out to other plantations to, you know, breed with their slaves so that they could create bigger, stronger slaves. Like that was his only mission, was to impregnate these women. And to me, it was very sad because I could never imagine being, you know, put in a situation like that. However, not the man of God in me, but you know, if I was in that time, the slave in me, you know, hey, that's not a bad gig. You know, you think about it in terms of, I can either be making babies, not by choice. You know, the master making me do this. Yeah. Or I could be out there in that heat in the Mississippi fields picking some cotton. Oh nah, bro. I'm gonna take that warm bed any day of the week.
And that's your out. You know, it ain't like this what I want to do.
Yeah. I don't get no pleasure out of this.
Master told me to do this.
But for real though, man, can you imagine that? And like, man, you talked about it, man. You know, I think it's important that these stories get out. Yeah. And I'm making fun of it just to keep it light. But it's really sad to me when you think about it overall, because here it is, it's a grown man that You know, we talked about it. Like, just imagine. I can't imagine. And he did get married,
Yeah.
and that was the beautiful part of the story. Okay, so what he did was he would use the money that he made, that the slave master paid him, and he wound up buying his freedom. Not
Yeah.
only did he buy his freedom, but he bought almost 300 acres of land.
Land, and basically raised all of his descendants on
All
that
of his
land.
descendants. Each child that he bore fruit
Yeah.
and he brought it to this world, they had a plot of land on this 300 acres. So it was like, man, it's almost like a gift and a curse, and it's kind of sort of, but it's like, man, just I can't imagine that, because when you think about love, you've been married for X amount of years now. You know,
Man, dude, this year
how do
makes
you have a
this year
connection
makes
with
20.
someone when you like that?
You don't, man. It's like I'm sure it was a challenge for him,
It
right?
had to be.
So, but so just think about this though. The challenge for him, but then the challenge for his wife. Like every night when your husband comes home, he's coming back home and you don't, it's not, oh, I wonder. No, I know. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's a whole nother situation. And then even for the siblings, man, those that grew up, that were born, man, I'm sure, you know, you split up on other plantations or other pieces of land and other places. And it's like, wow, when y'all come back together, it's like, man, it's got to be a feeling. You know what I'm saying? One, I know that's extremely uncomfortable and extremely awkward, but it's different, man. Again, times were different then, and we get it.
And I think that's the sad part to me, because, like you say, times was different then.
Yeah.
But I always look at things, especially when you talk about slavery, I think about it from a mental standpoint, a psychological standpoint, because it's no different than animals in these race horses. It's like you breaking a human being down.
Yeah.
So, you know, just imagine, like the women these days, like they say, I'm quite sure they would probably feel like you. Oh man, he out there, and what can I say? But I'm quite sure they were programmed back during them days. Well, either you're gonna do this or you're gonna die. So I really ain't tripping about you being with other women, because it's better than the alternative. And it's sad that another human being would treat another human being in such a disgraceful way.
Yeah. It's just heartbreaking, man. But hey, whew, it's just hard to think about. I mean, just faced with that alternative. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, you either do this or get beat, do this or die. It's hard, man. But it was the life that was required of him and required of many of our other brothers, man. I mean, they highlight his story, but there's so many others, man, that I'm sure had that same plight, or other plights that were even worse. But his story is one that we can look as a story of triumph, man, and not really a story of tragedy, I think. Because I mean, as you think about it, man, and if you look at the generations, one of the things I think that they highlighted in the story, man, was that he was one of the few that was able to empower his generation with land and ownership of land, right?
Absolutely.
So it starts this whole conversation and this opportunity, man, of having wealth and building that generational wealth, which, to be honest with you, we even going back to slavery, man, is one of those things that wasn't really that prominent in our community. Yeah, we know we had Black Wall Street. We know we had these other communities that kind of got raised up in different places across the country. We know about Tulsa and other places where Black people were doing well and Black people had finance and equity and things like that. But it wasn't something that was kind of like widespread. But based on this guy's story, man, it's a good lift, man, to showing how we can empower our families, and even like literally generations to this day still own pieces and parts of that land. Man, that's an incredible legacy. You know what I'm saying? Could have been a horror story, but it's an incredible legacy when you look at it that way. Even generations later, man, his family is still eating, living, and benefiting from an investment that he made.
Oh, almost over what, 250 years ago? That's like crazy.
That's crazy. You said 1856 or something like that?
Yeah, 1855. So, well, 150, about 150.
Yeah.
But that's a long time. Anything over a century, that's a long time for them to still be able to thrive. And that's what it's really about. And unfortunately, our Caucasian counterparts, they've always understood that. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have generational wealth, then what do you have?
Well,
You see what I'm saying? And that's what it's about. Half the time, they let it be known. If you're thinking about selling this business or selling out and making the money, oh, you're not getting nothing.
Dude.
You can go find your own way, but this is going to stay in the family business.
So I think, I don't remember where I saw it, but I read a statistic, I think, somewhere, man, and it was talking about specifically about our Anglo brothers and sisters, man, that in this generation is like the first time where like the scales have kind of tipped, and this generation is less concerned about, they're concerned more about the money than they are about the land. So this generation that is inheriting land on that side, they selling it. They like, give me that bread. We're gonna move to Florida and just chill. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what a lot of them doing. But I knew some. Well, I knew some people. Let's put it that way, that had that kind of generational wealth in Jersey. But that was like the rule. This has to stay in the family. And if you think you're gonna sell, you got another thing coming. You might as well take your little cut and go start whatever you want to do. But you are not selling this land. And you know, the head of the families will have it set up legally where there's nothing that you can do about it. You can't sell this land. So you got, you know, either you gonna take the family business and run with it, or you gonna go start your own thing. Hey, we got a good comment. Thanks, Ed, for that. There, I'm gonna have to have you back on. Because you are from North Carolina, right, Mitch?
Man, born and raised, man.
Yeah, North Carolina.
Never lived anywhere else. Visited, traveled, vacation, and all that. Spent summers in different places, but born and raised in North Carolina, man. I grew up in a small town in the eastern part of the state where you talk about, my bruh, the products of where I'm from, we known for sweet potatoes and tobacco. Okay.
Well, you know about them fields.
Listen, I know about them, man. I know about riding down the street and just seeing acres and acres and acres of land. And well, you know, that's the Barefoot family's land. And you get over here, it's the Blackman's land. It's the Woodall's land. You know what I'm saying? So
and it was crazy to me when I first started getting cool with some cats down here. Like I had one friend, he was from Dunn.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how like he my age. So I graduated in 93. He graduated 92, 93. He was talking about how in high school he would go work fields to make some money. Bro. And I'm like, we're not talking about 1968. We're talking about in 1990. People were still working fields just to make some money, you know, to go have some money to spend on the weekend.
Bro, so that's how we came up, man. Like summertime. So my wife always be like, nah, you didn't have to do that. You talk living off of your brothers and sisters stories. I'm like, no, bro. I remember summertime. There was a man by the name of James Young, and he had a farm, and he would come to my mom and dad's house, and he'd blow the horn. He'd pick me and my brothers up sometimes, and my sister and them, if they were going, my mom and dad would bring them. But man, we go out and like on a Saturday, we be out there all day, bro. And it's like we picking string beans, we picking butter beans, we picking corn, we picking cucumbers. I'm like, dude, and it's like, for me, it's like, this is crazy. Why are we out here doing this? But man, it taught me work ethic though. And it taught me responsibility at an early age. But then too, man, going even beyond that, man, it showed us something else because, dude, it was 7 of us in my house. So my mom and dad had 7 kids. So it wasn't just going out there working and doing the work, but then the other days where we would actually be out there and we would be doing something that they call picking on half. So basically you ain't get paid. Half of whatever you pick, you got to keep.
Wow.
Bruh. So I'm like, hold up. So my brother and them, they would be actually picking to get paid. Mom would have me and my other younger brother picking on half. So So whatever we picked, we got to keep half of it. So then when you got home, you got everything that you picked. So the crowded peas, the corn, the butter beans, the squash, whatever it was. When we got home, now we got to clean it, bag it, and get it ready to go in the freezer. So the next 2 days, you in the house shelling butter beans and shelling, man, listen.
What'd you say? You know every bean there is.
Man,
Hey, Dana, I see you in the comments, Dana. Look, sis, I love you. After hearing my brother, whatever you do, do not ask this mug to grow no garden, please.
Hey, listen.
Please do not ask bitch to grow no garden.
I wouldn't mind doing it, but I know what it ain't gonna be a big one, Jack. It's gonna be maintainable. Man, listen, them rows used to seem like they was miles long, man. But it was a different day, man. And
I asked you about Carolina because my man, it just went away. He commented though we need to do being in the South, being brothers in the South, we need to do did you see you can see the comments in the live feed? Yeah, do a show on the Gullah tradition.
Oh man.
On the coast of Carolinas.
Yeah, the coast of South Carolina, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. But they, man, go down like Charleston, Hilton Head area, bro. Incredible food out there though.
Yeah.
On some of those islands, man.
Yeah, that's where my father's people originally from.
Okay.
Down there in South Carolina. Yeah.
Rich history, man. Rich heritage down that way.
All right. All right. So, man. Well, yeah, like I said, y'all check that out. I think it comes on 10 o'clock Eastern, Soul of a Nation, on Tuesday nights. So it'll be an episode on the night at 10 o'clock. Check it out and check it out for yourself and just, learn about some different things that you never heard about before. Some pretty good, interesting stories on there. I really dig it.
Man, it's really a dope series. So I encourage people, go back if you got streaming ABC, go back and watch the first 2 episodes. And tonight, definitely check it out, man. It's definitely worth the watch.
Yeah, my cousin, she wild. She said she a city girl. She used to look forward to wrapping tobacco and picking vegetables in the field during the summertime, once a year, down in Valdosta, Georgia.
Woo!
Like, nah, I'm good. I don't want no parts of that. I don't even want to know what it's like.
Man, listen. Sometimes when you get those memories, then it's like, bruh, you out there working in that heat and sun, you already tired and frustrated, then you run up on a snake. It's a whole nother situation, bro.
Come on, man. You work fields, but you don't do snakes, man.
I don't do the snakes, brother. Not at all. They be like, oh, it's a black snake. It's a good snake, man. The only good snake is a dead snake. Word. Nah, I won't play those kind of games, bro. Nah.
That is funny,
Man, bro.
Yeah, I don't do the snakes too tough either. I can't lie, I did want one back in the like 89, 90s, in the hood.
Nah.
Cool dudes used to walk around with the pythons, like,
nah,
that was better than a pit bull, you know what I mean?
Nah, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, remember? Yeah, the pythons back in the day, boy, that was the thing. Yo, he got a python, bro. Yeah, you got all the attention with that.
So my thing is, python don't make you hard though. So I just never got.
But you ain't going to approach me while I got one wrapped around my neck either.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
So you don't know whether I'm hard or not.
For sure.
You got a python wrapped around your neck. You ain't got to worry about fighting.
Respect, yeah, because I mean, hey, all you gotta do is be like, hey, bro. To fight me, you gotta fight the snake. You know what I'm saying? So, nah, we good.
I know. I feel you on that, man. Man, okay. So over the weekend, the timeline's been going crazy.
Oh man.
I don't plan on staying too long, but we gotta talk about the brother.
Yeah,
we gotta talk about Kurt.
Let's talk about the brother.
All right. So I want to start by putting this disclaimer out there because I see everybody got an opinion on it. Was Kurt wrong? Yes, he was wrong. Was the son wrong? Yeah, he was wrong. Was this one wrong? No. No, not none of us. Nan nutter. I ain't saying that, none of us. Know what happened. Yeah. None of us. Right. Nobody know what happened except for them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or whoever was in the car or whoever was on the record.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we don't know the context of it. Now, having said that, one of the things that I seen that made me go find out was because it's like, is Kurt Franklin gonna lose his fan base after this incident
Right.
and all this? And I'm like, what incident? So I go and see what they talking about. So I'm like, you know me, I'm from the hood too. I want to hear it regular. I want to hear what was said.
Really?
I don't want to hear nothing that's edited. I want to hear what was said.
Like, give me the whole raw. Just give me
a whole 47 seconds. That's all it took. A whole 47 seconds. And when I heard what Kurt had to say, as a man of God, the first thing I did was pray for him. But I said, you know what, bro? I feel that joke 100%. You know what I mean? I started out talking about how it's a little different for you because again, you're a girl dad.
Right.
It's a different thing when you're dealing with men. And first of all, let's when we're talking about this, let's refer to him as a son. Let's not call him a boy. Because the man is
a man.
33 years old.
He's a man.
You know what I mean? And like I'm with Kurt. Look, the day you decide that you're gonna disrespect me, it's gonna be some furniture moving.
Oh, that's it. It's gonna be some
furniture. It got to go down. And I understand a lot of the women. Listen, no, that's still your son and all that. Hey, listen, your role is to be a mother.
That's it.
You know what I mean? Let me be a father.
That's
and
it.
Guess how I'm gonna handle that? The way I see fit accordingly.
Bro.
Listen. I don't need you to agree with me. I don't need you to have my back on this here because when I stand before God, I got to give an account for being a dad.
And I'm gonna be okay with it.
Exactly.
I'm gonna be okay with it.
I'm gonna sleep good at night.
Man.
Because guess what? You heard what I said, did you?
Yeah.
he heard that son heard what he said. And to me, like I said, I wasn't in a place of blame. But where I'm from, like I said, North New Jersey, the son, he broke all kind of violations.
And that's
you know what I mean? Because like why are you even recording this conversation? He tried to come back later on and say that Kurt was recording it, but you clearly on the phone. You got a girl in the car with you because you can hear her laughing. Yeah. And then he actually pans over and you can see the other phone in his left hand that's doing the recording.
So he knew what he was doing.
Exactly.
Right? So I'm like this, bro. So I don't have sons. I don't. But I got like nephews that are like 10 and 12 years younger than me. So, and we were all raised in the same house. So when they got to the point where they got older, they were teenagers, they start smelling themselves, you know what I'm saying? Their moms, single moms and that kind of situation. So, you know, it was always one of those things where we were kind of like uncle dads. And they used to get mad because we'd be like, yo, straight up, y'all want to act like real men? Look, we're going to go outside in the grass. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go handle it. And we're going to go outside. I'm going to punch you in your chest. And we're going to find out if you really feel like you're a man. Let's do it. Square up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Word up.
A couple of times we went and tussled in the grass. But to this day, they still respect us. To this day, they still honor us.
Yeah, you're gonna be like that because I got a cousin, and I mean they hood. They one of them was my enforcer back in the day.
Yeah.
But it baffled me like maybe as recent as 10 years ago. These are my older cousins at that. I found out that their mom would never let them fight, and I'm talking about these some real dudes. Yeah. You don't want that smoke, but they could never fight each other.
Man, Mom, that was a rule. We could not fight each other. If my mom came home and found out that me and my brothers was fighting, everybody getting the beat.
Wow.
I mean, because that was just inbred in us, bro. We did not fight. It's like y'all can do whatever y'all want to do outside this house. You know, I mean, it wasn't like everything you want to do because I mean, it was still very much strict Christian, get your life type situation. But that was one of the things, bro. They would not let us fight. So if we got if me and my brothers had like a little disagreement or whatever, it was so short-lived that you really didn't even know. Like they might thump me in my head and I might kick them or something like that. But it wasn't like we getting ready to all out fight and tussle. Nah, mom's dad was like, nah, y'all ain't doing that.
Man, I don't know and I hear this all the time. I just always wonder where was my dad at the day that they taught that particular subject or parenting. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I never forget a time my brother, he shall remain nameless. We was in the grocery store, right? And he stole a knife so he could stab me, right? Yeah.
So he can stab you?
Yeah, I promise this is a true story. So he can stab me, right?
Oh.
So we got to fight. You know what I mean, dude? Because my brother ratted him out. Hey, he stole a knife so he can stab you. What? Oh, bruh. I went to 10. So we ready to fight, right? My mom like, y'all can't fight. Y'all can't fight.
Yeah.
Telling my dad, Marvin, stop them. Stop them. You know what my father's words was?
Yeah.
They need to get it out their system. let them go ahead. They need to get it out their system, yo.
Wow.
And I never forgot that. And it was like almost after hearing that, it's like, I don't know if it was reverse psychology, but you hear something like that, you don't necessarily want to fight no more.
Yeah. It's like
you giving me permission to fight.
That's
now I don't even want to fight.
Do. It's the thing that they tell you not to do that you really want to do, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Like Pops got me with that one there. Man. But like, I really, Jen made the whole Jen, send me your cash app so I can send you an offering. But she said, we got to stop putting these, gospel artists on these pedestals.
Yeah.
And that's my thing. And I feel like this because, like I said, I'm a man before anything else.
Yeah.
You feel me?
I'm a man before I'm a man of God, right? So
I don't care if you're just an artist. I wouldn't even care if your name was apostle or bishop.
Yeah.
We all subject to have a moment. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then we all feel, especially as men, we feel like we being challenged or our manhood is being challenged.
Yeah.
Especially by somebody that we brought in this world. We gonna get defensive about that.
I mean, that's it, bro. And I think that's the thing that people have to understand. Though you're still a man of God, we still are in this flesh, right?
Yeah.
So as long as we have humanity as a part of what we are, there's always going to be things that we actually contend with. There are always going to be challenges and temptations that we have to deal with in our flesh. So, and it's all about, do I yield to it or do I choose to go a different path? Yeah. I mean, that's just it. There's no other way around it. So I thought, well, no, if you praying, if you fasting, if you submitted, temptation is still coming. Jesus himself, God in the flesh, was led in the wilderness to be tempted.
Exactly.
So I'm like, there's still the opportunity for you to fall, but it's all about the choices that you make and the choices and the responses. And listen, none of us are perfect. If we were, there would be no need for grace, right? So my thing is, do I feel like Kurt could have chose some different language to address the issue? 100%, I feel like he could have.
Yeah.
But in the heat of the moment and understanding, man, the emotions of this is my seed and I've invested in this person's life for 30 some years. And again, they talked about the fact that they've had contention over the years. So you got all of these other emotions and stuff that's actually built up, bottled up. We don't know even the first half of the conversation. Yeah. All we got was the clip, right? So we don't know what he said prior to that kind of, you know what I'm saying? He could have called Kurt a midget or something. Anything,
we don't know.
Little person, anything, you know what I'm saying? I mean, he could have said a whole lot of stuff before that moment. And what we got is a 45-second soundbite of his actual reaction to being pressed and to being pushed. So, I mean, we all have to, I think we walk away from it saying that, we can't judge an individual's total life based on 45 seconds or based on a moment that they had. Now, there are other folk that's out there talking about, well, listen, the way Kirk strung them together and the way he put it together, he never forget how to cuss. He's probably still cussing all the time. And I'm like, well, listen, I don't know. That's between him and God.
Exactly.
But still,
and
as a part of
that saying that still listening to his music, still feeling good. They still smile.
Listen.
Every time. you know what I mean? So don't be hypocritical about it. This man, he made a mistake. He apologized for it, which I thought was big of him to me, because I wouldn't have been apologizing. So I wouldn't have. And I understand that he got more to lose. He got a bag to lose. He got endorsements. He got this and that there.
Right.
So I get that.
He had to do that.
Yeah, you got to do that but it's like, at the end of the day, I know it made it had to make him cringe. You know what I mean? Because that is a violation. I can't help but to go back to that. This is a violation. You know, if me and my son, if it's documented that we got a toxic relationship, right? And it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback, but I know I can honestly say that I know I would never be in that particular situation, because if we have a history of having a toxic relationship, I haven't talked to you in X amount of months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, however long it's been, and you calling me up talking about we need to have a conversation, and I sense that you push my buttons. First of all, as soon as you open up, well, we need to have a conversation. Okay, well, let me know where we can meet at.
Yeah,
because we ain't talking about nothing over no phone. I ain't talking about nothing over the phone with nobody that I got a toxic relationship with. Point blank, period.
Yeah,
that goes for my brother, my son, my mother, whoever. If we got a toxic relationship, I don't know what you're doing on the other end. We need to meet face to face.
Right.
Especially if we're gonna be talking about something that really matters. So I feel like Kirk kind of fell for the okie doke, putting himself in that position. And then, not to mention, like I said, the son, you got to know, the son knew what to say to get that response from Kirk.
Yeah, I mean, and Kirk took the bait, but again,
and that was my whole thing about him. He took the bait. He definitely fell for it.
You don't know what else Kirk had going on to it in his life that day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we get into these pressure packed situations, man, and in the moment, yeah, stuff can pop off. I look at it like this: because Kirk had a moment. All of us have moments, so I'm not judging him for his moment, but I'm also not absolving his son of the responsibility that he has in this situation. You know, when I look at this situation, man, immediately my mind went back to Noah, and the fact the Bible says that Noah, after he came out of the ark, he planted a vineyard and basically got drunk off the grapes. You know what I'm saying? But one of his sons went in, saw his nakedness, saw the place where he was exposed, saw the place of his weakness, and instead of covering his father, what does he do? He runs out and tattles and rats out to his other brothers, "Hey, daddy drunk and naked." You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm one of those people. I believe that what happens in your tent should stay within your tent. I don't feel like that individuals should make anybody's private struggle public. Especially if you family, man, you got a responsibility to cover each other, and you got a responsibility to have each other's back. It's like if I know somebody's got a struggle, I know somebody got an issue, I'm not getting ready to put them on Front Street.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's to me, that's not love. What's love is, I know you got an issue behind the scenes. I'm gonna hold you accountable to get that issue fixed. I'm gonna hold you accountable to get the help that you need to get that issue resolved. But I'm not gonna blast it out in the street. Absolutely. That's just not. I mean, that ain't even G code. That's just, you know what I'm saying? That's just what you gotta do.
That's the B code. That's what it is. That's what it is. We ain't gonna go to Kirk way, but it's a B code to that.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a B code.
Yeah.
Because that really got me about it, and to piggyback what you said, because I think in my opinion, you stopped a little bit too short. Because one thing, when I used to teach on, when I would teach about, the sons of Noah, if you remember, all three of them seen him in the drunk state.
Yeah.
And the other two said, the first, Shem. Yeah. Shem was the one. He wanted to make fun of the dad.
Yeah.
But the other two said, "This is our dad. Let's cover him up in this state and keep him protected." And what does the word say? Because of that one deed that you thought was funny at that particular time, the rest of your generations to come will be forever cursed.
Yeah.
So it was like it was good in the moment, and I pray for him too. I really pray for Kirk, but I pray for the son as well, because like I said, I don't know the history, but what I sensed was, or what I felt when I first seen it, when I first heard it rather, was, you know what, you've been hurting me all my life, and I know how to hurt you back. But if I record this and put this out there, it's gonna hurt you just the same way as you hurt me for all these years. You know what I mean?
And I look at it like this, man. You still have the responsibility to honor your father and mother, that your days may be long on the earth. And
that ain't optional.
And they may be well with you. So I'm like, bro, you thought that this was gonna go one way for your dad, but I think you really set yourself up in a situation where your days are not going to be well with you. And I'm not speaking that over him, man, but the
Yeah,
word is
yeah.
still the word, right? And we still have to know, focus. Well, that's the law. Listen, the word is still the word. And even though he may not have been raised with his father, even though he may not have had the impact of his father, even teaching him the word of the scriptures, the word is still the word. And I think that he's sown some things, and eventually those things he's gonna have to reap. And bro, yeah, yeah,
It's crazy, man. So, but yeah, I'm really, I'm joking about it, but I'm really praying for him, man, because that's
yeah.
never a good situation, man, to be in. You know what I mean?
Huh.
No, I know from firsthand. No father want friction with their own son.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? That's not a good. Don't nobody want that. You know what I
right.
mean? You play the hand that you dealt sometimes, but don't nobody want that. So I know it ain't like with Kurt, like, you know what I mean? Man, this mother gonna do me dirty. No, because as a father, just like the prodigal son, the
Yeah,
youngest son went out there, did whatever he wanted to do. But when he came on back home, the father ain't give him no speech.
yeah,
Well, you wanted to be big and bad to go out there in the streets. No, he got the best, he got the fattest calves, got the best furs and everything else. And the brother that never left said, "Jealous, why you doing all of this stuff?"
right.
You know what I
He
mean?
does.
Because my son is back home. It don't
Right.
matter what he did, and it's just an example of what, to me, the way fatherly love should be.
So,
You know what I'm saying?
let me ask you something, man.
Huh?
So you just hit something that sometimes is a thought that I kind of ponder in my mind. So we
Mm-hmm.
know that whole story of the prodigal son is kind of depicted as Christ or a God waiting for us to return back to him.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how that story kind of talks about how the father goes out and he looks for the son.
Mm-hmm.
So I always, man, when I read that story, it's like we always focus on the responsibility of the son and the dysfunction of the son.
Mm-hmm.
But then I wonder too, man, when we look at it from the father's perspective, um, the father had the right to tell the son no.
Yeah,
The father had the
absolutely,
right to tell the
100%.
son, I ain't giving you nothing. So, so when we think about the son's dysfunction and all of the things that the son actually did, was the father an enabler to the son?
That is a good question, and
Because so let's think about it. He went off into the far country and spent everything that he had.
mm-hmm.
If I don't send you with nothing, you leaving with no money.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
it's
then, like you say, it's definitely something to ponder. It's definitely something to think about because I hear people talk about all that. We always, especially in the black community, we hear tough love.
yeah,
I remember talking about tough love with Bishop one time. I said, listen, I ain't never seen nothing in the Bible that talk about tough love. I understand where we coming from and trying to train up our children in the way they should go. It makes it makes total sense to me. You know what I mean? Because that's what we've been brainwashed to think. You know what I mean? In the way we think. So, but it don't say nothing about the Bible don't say nothing about every once in a while somebody needs tough love.
no,
You know what I mean? And me personally, I took away from the father, like you say. People use the talk about the son, but for me, it was always more so about the dad,
yeah,
especially after I became a father,
right,
because it showed me, if we are to believe, like I believe, which everybody don't, but if we are to believe that the Bible has no respect for person,
yeah,
and that is the Bible stands for basic instructions before leaving earth, which
yeah,
mean that to me, there are examples in here which are showing me some things that I should follow, some things that I shouldn't follow. Now,
right,
like you said, when we read that passage, we can easily say he could have told him, no, you got your inheritance and you blew it.
yeah,
You got to find a way. I still love you, but you can't come back in here.
yeah,
But how does that approach? Not only does it reflect love, but it does reflect God's love.
yeah. And I think
Because
that's
God don't say, well, look, you spent 17 years out there smoking weed. You know what I mean? No, he's there with open arms waiting for us.
right,
So
right,
if I'm to be a Christian, if I'm supposed to be Christ-like and trying to exemplify love through Christ, you know what I mean? The same way that God had love for me,
yeah,
then who am I to hold anything against a son, a daughter, a friend, a foe? You know what I mean? I understand sometimes it might seem like in the beginning, you know what, I got to keep my distance for my own health. But sometimes do we ever stop to take it a step further to say, is God trying to use this situation to really show me what love is and how to demonstrate true love?
Yeah. I think it's the latter. I think it's to show us what love is, demonstrate true love, and to show us the value and the importance of really what reconciliation looks like.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's really what it is, man. And again, if there's a situation where there is a breach that actually exists, listen, if there is an opportunity for restoration and reconciliation, what's under the bridge is under the bridge. What's most important is that we reconcile and that we look towards the future. Let the past be the past. Let's not repeat the mistakes of the past. We don't have to go back and rehash the whole history. Let's just move forward, knowing that I'm your father, you're my son, I love you, I'm concerned about you, and I'm concerned about your well-being. And just let that be that. Let's
Yeah.
build from here, you know?
Yeah, and that's very important, man. You know, I don't never talk about the private stuff on here, but I remember that having that conversation with both of my sons as grown men. You know, when I first went through my divorce.
Okay.
You know, look, you guys are grown men. I'm dad. I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna always love you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna always be here for you. But the one thing that I can't do is I can't force my love on you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I don't, you know, everybody that knows me know I don't do fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can respect me. Hey dad, how you doing? Whatever the case may be, but don't be fake. If you don't want to have no conversation with me, don't be having no conversation. I don't do that. I don't do the fake talk. Just because we sitting in the same, we waiting on the bus together at the same bus stop. Oh, so how you doing today? If I don't care how you doing, I'm not asking you how you doing. I don't do the fake small talk, bro. I don't know how to do it.
So it don't work for you.
It don't work for me. That's why I said I know the call. Pastors ain't on my life for nothing, none of that did. Because no, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'll tell you to go somewhere and sit down in a minute, yo.
Yeah.
Why you ask me how I'm doing? You don't even know me. You know what I'm saying? Do you really care how I'm doing? So I don't like the fakeness. But I always try to tell my sons, look, at the end of the day, y'all got my number. You know what I'm saying? We can link up. We can talk anytime you guys want to. But one thing I can't do, I can't make you love me. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that door is always open. I would never be with one of my sons like I would a dude from the street.
Yeah.
Since he ain't rocking with me, I ain't rocking with him. No.
You got.
I don't even do my friends like that. So I definitely wouldn't do one of my sons like that. You know what I mean? All it takes is a conversation. We could have felt like my god brother been on the show for several years. He ain't turned his back on me. I shut our friendship down. And he stayed consistent though.
Right.
That's what love does. He stayed consistent. Even when I wasn't answering the phone, he was still calling me to see how I was doing. Right. You feel what I'm saying? Calling and texting me, yo, bro, just thinking about you. Love you. Everything good. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing him, but I'm just not responding because I'm in my feelings. You know what I mean? But he was consistent. And that's what real love does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll let you be in your feelings, but at the end of the day, when I stand before God, because God put you in my life, you will never, ever say that I was never there for you. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what it's about. It's not about having one up on people, but really trying to please God. You know, that was my post the other day, yesterday. Yeah. God, I just want to please you. Yeah. I just want to please you in all I do. So if that takes me being in uncomfortable situation, if that takes me having some fake conversations from time to time, it ain't about what Marv wants. You know what I mean? I got to do what God put me here to do. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes we're put in positions where we have to take the low road or take the high road rather for the sake of just keeping that consistency. You know what I'm saying? And making sure that door stays open because that's our responsibility. And, you know, I think it really becomes an issue of the heart. And you have to sometimes just allow yourself to be vulnerable, even though you don't want to be. Even though the person doesn't deserve for you to be, for the sake of keeping the door open and for the sake of maintaining relationship and communication. Sometimes as the elder person, you got to put yourself out there. So,
And that in itself is a dangerous thing, because I always go back to that too. When I would have my debates, not arguments, but debates, people always talk about what you deserve.
Yeah.
But who are you to determine what I deserve? You feel what I'm saying? Like, you may want to see me suffer, but if it ain't a part of God's plan for my life for me to suffer, then guess what? I ain't going to suffer.
So they gonna
even though you feel that I might deserve to suffer.
They're going to be judge, jury, and executioner.
Exactly. Yeah. I am who God says I am, whether you like it or not. You know what I mean? So, I think we got to get away from some of the personal stuff sometimes, because, like I said, let's be real. I mean, there are plenty of times that I've had conversations when I really, really became on this journey to try to really, really, really please God. Right. And all that I say and that I do. Yeah, it took me going from that third row that don't talk to nobody. Mm-hmm. I had to start forming relationships. Right. You know what I mean? Because if I never spoke to you in 15 years, when I come to you and tell you that the Lord says such and such and such and such, you're gonna be looking at me like I'm halfway crazy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, why this dude got now it's gonna be on point, because I ain't gonna never take it upon myself to just come spit to somebody. Right. It's been 100% God. I thank God every day. It's nothing that has nothing to do with me. But anytime I've given somebody a word, they looking at me like they want to, like they seeing a ghost, because I don't know how you can know that. Yeah. Don't nobody know that. I don't know what it is. I'm just telling you what the Lord has given me to share with you. You know what I'm saying?
So you deal with that however you got to deal with it.
Yeah. You know? I'm just a messenger. And I think there's a lot of times we got to get past that, because we deal with that when we hurt. Yeah. We are an emotional creature. Yeah. Women are more emotional than we are, but we are all, as human beings, we are an emotional creatures. So therefore, a lot of times our feelings our feelings could block so many of our blessings.
Yeah. So I'm gonna agree with you, but I'm gonna disagree with you.
All right.
This is what I'm gonna say. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of times we make that statement that women are more emotional than men. Women express their emotions more than men. Mm-hmm. We bottle our emotions because we've been taught that, hey, bro, you can't express it. So it doesn't mean that we're not emotional. We just handle them in a different way, right? So, and the thing is, because we handle them in a different way, the way that we deal with them many times is more unhealthy than the way that they deal with them.
Yeah. Because just because you don't pick that thing on the floor up that you drop, man, it don't change the fact that it's still there.
It's still there, right? And eventually you're gonna have to deal with it.
Got to. Right?
So the question becomes, do you deal with it? Like, it's like you outside, you grilling, and you don't want to stop when you grill, when you drop that hot dog on the ground. Eventually, you still gonna have to go back and pick it up. Mm-hmm. So do you deal with it now while it ain't got no ants and all this other stuff on it? Or do you come back and deal with it later? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I think us as men, we have to get to a better place where we manage and deal with our emotions and process our emotions in a different way. And that we get to a point where we can learn how to talk things out and have conversations, because that's really the thing, the gist of the matter. We don't want to have a conversation. We want to make one or two statements and be like, I said what I said, and chuck up the deuces and walk away from it. When it's like, nah, bro, it's like you got a real situation that you got to deal with. Mm-hmm. And eventually you're still going to have to, it's going to circle back and you got to deal with it.
And the crazy thing is, man, I have no problem with being trans. That's my thing. I'm transparent on here. I have no problem. I'm so guilty of that for years. For the majority of my life, I wasn't going to deal with nothing that needed to be dealt with. Mm. Whether it came to relationships, whether it came to friendships. Like you said, look, I said what I said had to say. That's the way it is. You know what I mean? And you're not going to change my mind.
Right.
So I don't see the point in having a conversation. You could explain to me where you're coming from, and I will listen, but it still ain't changed my mind. Yeah. So we got to agree to disagree. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it took me, taking some L's to say, you know what? Nah, for real growth to happen, you got to have those kind of the conversations that you don't want to have are the most important. And like you say, we as men, we got to pray for one another, man, that We really get beyond that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I told you before, I used to have a series called "I Am My Brother's Keeper." You know what I mean? From New Jack City. You know, I am my brother's keeper, and I feel like most Christian men should have that approach. You know, I've seen far too many times where a young man to come to church and give his heart to the Lord, and we quick to meet him. Hey, bro, what's good, man? God, I'm so happy for you, man. I'm gonna be praying for you here and that there. Coming, then after 2 months, they missing. They double dutch. They come one Sunday, they miss a Sunday. Come one Sunday, then the next day, they done dropped off. And I done seen some men that supposedly love the Lord, people that think they men of God, talking about, yeah, I knew it was just a matter of time. I'm surprised he lasted this long. Like, are you serious, bro?
Yeah.
That's your brother, man. Go out there and find where your brother at. Yeah. Let him know that you ain't just talking this thing. You ain't just talking about being saved, but you're living a saved life. Go find that brother. Hey, man, I ain't too comfortable in this neighborhood. I can't be here too long, but I needed you to know that I really care about you. You know what I'm saying? And now that I done laid eyes on you, I'm getting up out of here. But you know where to find me when you need somebody. You feel what I'm saying?
So I'm getting up out of here before it get dark while these street lights still on.
Absolutely, man. We got to get past like the superficial, man, because there's so much power, man. Like I said, I could be honest with it. You were one of those people that I called when I was going through that season, and I was really trying to figure out things and what was my next move, just one day at a time. Hey, look, Mitch. Hey, man, I'm going through it right now, bro. When you gonna be in the area, man? I'll make time. Just let me know when you, because I need to have a real conversation with a real brother that ain't gonna pacify my feelings. That ain't gonna tell me what I want to hear, but he gonna tell me it real.
Yeah.
Because I always say that's what love do, bro. I've always been one of those friends. I'm willing to lose a relationship over telling you something that you need to hear versus over me telling you what you want to hear.
Because my thing is this: if God placed me in your life to be that, then I'm not playing my role if I'm not honest with you. If I'm like, nah, they wrong. Like, hold up, but bro, hold up, you own a little bit wrong in this too. Like, you did what? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like that. I think that's the piece that we got to make sure, even in that I'm my brother's keeper type situation, man, that we're honest.
Yeah.
And that you don't get tight in your chest when somebody's honest with you.
Can't do it, man.
You take that as a moment for you to deal with you. Nobody likes to see themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't like to have to deal with the ugly horror of ourselves in the mirror, but it's what God requires of us. And if you really want change and you really want to get better, that the change starts with you.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I talk to cats, and especially when we talk about relationship type stuff, man, it's like, man, I boil relationships down to two things, and it is basically choices and responses, decisions and responses. Your life and how you live and what you experience in life comes down to decisions and responses. The decisions that you make, the things that you choose to do, and the responses that you have to this other stuff that folk do. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna need you to say that one more time, because I got a friend on here that's watching that I always preach that life is about choices. They don't be trying to hear that.
But that's what it is. It's choices and responses. So it's like the choices that you make, and then how you respond to the choices that other folk make, which in honesty, that's a choice too. Because you choose how to respond to what other folks do. And you choose to respond to what other folks say. So at the end of the day, everything that I'm dealing with is because of a choice that I made, either to do something or a choice to respond to something that somebody else did in a certain or particular way.
Yeah.
So what does that say? That says that everything that I'm dealing with right now, I got a whole lot of control over how this situation actually pans out. I got a whole lot of control over how stuff shapes up in my life. But many times we feel like we don't have control. Man, you got all control. Man, look, somebody going off on you, they're getting bucked. You got a choice. Do I respond or do I don't? Do I get bucked with them? Or do I just be like, yo, I'm out?
And for people like me, can't nobody do that but God. Because I could admit it, I couldn't do it in my own strength. I would tell you where to go and how to get there, and you better get there within the next 15 minutes.
Man, I'm gonna help you get there. Now, how
exactly.
about that?
Exactly. And they ain't gonna be paying for no Uber either. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it really took me humbling myself and really giving myself to God completely. Not just Monday through Friday, but completely for him to change in me. You know, what does David say? Created me a clean heart. You got to give it to him, because only he got stuff. There's a whole lot in there that he got to uproot.
Yeah.
A whole lot. And I know my heart was black. My heart was cold black at one time, bro. I had literally forgot what it was like to feel.
Wow.
You know, like literally. Wow. I knew. I remember that once upon a time there was this thing called love. Yeah. And I'm supposed to love this one. And I like our relationship, but I was completely just gone emotionally.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And it took God to repair that and bring that back. But it showed me, as I kept on progressing, why the enemy will fight me in that way. Because I know that I have a call of Jeremiah on my life. You know what I mean? As a man, I have no problem. The Lord, I remember one time, and a preacher came and called me out and told me this. And it was all, when she told me, it wasn't like her telling me, all it was confirmation. She said, but God honors your tears. When you go before God in the throne room and you cry before the Lord on certain matters and certain people's lives and what they're going through, addiction and marriage or whatever the case may be, God hears and honors your tears.
Wow.
So I appreciate when I get to that place. And the enemy had to take me to a place where that disconnect would go, because now guess what? I can't flow and I can't operate in the spirit like I need to, because I don't have that connection that God wants me to have, because I need that for him to honor those tears.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So, you know, it's all about learning yourself. And like you said, sometimes when you put that mirror up, is you're not looking at a pretty thing. But the thing is, if you this is like you say, and this is the beautiful thing that I love about how we think alike as far as choices. Because anytime you don't like what you see in that mirror, guess what? You got a choice to make a change.
That's it.
You got a choice to make a change. And I promise you, bro, when I went from being that hard dude, man, I can't tell my boy about this. He ain't gonna understand. You know what I mean? He ain't trying to hear all of that mushy stuff and all that did.
Yeah.
Man, when I got past that did, and I began to talk about some of the things that was frustrating me in life, and actually get it, man, you know how good it felt to actually get that stuff off of you, to be able to have a conversation with a brother like you, and you like, hey man, let it out, bro. Let it out.
Bro, because you gotta get it off you.
It's healing.
Until you get it out, man, healing can't begin. It's like an infection. Your body does not begin to heal until the infection is gone.
Till it's gone, bro.
You know, so it's like you got to get the infection out.
Because if it's not gone, you just learn how to live with the symptoms.
Exactly.
It's still there.
Exactly.
You're just learning how to manage it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that ain't what you want. You don't want to learn how to manage cancer. You want the cancer to be gone.
I want it to be gone. I don't need it to show up in another place.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely. Absolutely. Man, well, I ain't gonna hold you all night, but before we wrapped up, man, I kind of wanted to talk to you. You being a pastor and everything, and knowing you that you a legit man of God. How important is, and we'll talk about the role of the black church on the next episode, because I'm gonna add you back. Okay. Now you ready to come on back. Man, we'll talk about that and that. But I kind of wanted, in closing out, to talk about the importance of not just men, but women. One thing that I used to love about Bishop was he used to like to use the word vessels. Because that's what it's about, vessels. Okay. And vessels have different meanings. Okay. You know what I mean? A vehicle could be a vessel. A submarine is a vessel. A bowl is a vessel to carry something in. You know, the word vessel takes on many different shapes of meaning. So as believers, as vessels, how important is it to you submission? Or I won't use the word submission, accountability. You know, we living in an era now where You could literally go online. Probably, I think it's probably down to about $5.99, and I can have a church started in about 30 minutes because everybody getting one these days.
Oh man.
Especially in this, and I'm not hating on nobody. I'm not. I promise, I ain't gonna name no name. I ain't naming no name. Although I could, I'm not gonna name no name.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, everybody can get a church. You can get a church just like that these days because I feel like a lot of times they leave in churches or situations because they don't want to be held accountable to that particular leader. But how important is it for people to understand that accountability to no matter who it is? You know, you could be the grand poobah bishop, you know, Koji. I always try to say that. Whoever you is on the top of the food chain, you still got to give an account to somebody.
And and to be honest with you, that's really what it is. I think, me personally, I believe that every pastor needs a pastor. Every pastor should have a pastor. There should be somebody that can tell you no, or somebody that can tell you, bro, you out of pocket, you out of line. You need to go get yourself together, take a sabbatical, do whatever you got to do. But it's just that, man. And you're right. There are a lot of people that don't want to be or don't want to have that level of accountability. But it's generally those people that are not accountable to anybody that really are out here living reckless and doing some crazy stuff. I mean, the church already has a black eye with so much other stuff, but it's just like every time you turn around, there's another scandal, there's another this, there's another that. But you know, I think some of that is that people don't have pastors, and then there are other people that do have pastors, but their pastors don't hold them accountable. They're not accountable to be honorable. They don't hold them accountable to love their wives. You know, I see you preaching online every Sunday. I see your church going through the roof. How you treat your wife? How do you treat your kids? I heard somebody say something yesterday, and that thing was hilarious. They were preaching, and he was like, "We gotta really be honest about this whole integrity thing. Everybody that pay tithes don't pay child support." And I'm like, whoa. You know, it's like these people that are in these leadership positions in church, and we give them these titles, we put these collars on them, we give them this honor and this rank, and we do it based on their commitment and their faithfulness to the house of God. But how committed and how faithful are they to their children, to their family, to their community? I'm like, bro, you can't be a leader in my church and you got bounced checks.
Talk about it.
I mean, that's an integrity issue to me. You know what I'm saying? So
and I'm with you there because I've always been somebody, and it ain't no shame, but I'm just saying, like for me, if I feel like you're not living the life that you preaching, I can't rock with you. Yeah. Because if you're gonna be a pastor or if you're gonna be a preacher, whatever you want to call yourself, you need to be the first partaker in your word.
Yeah.
You know, people used to ask me all the time, well, why don't you sing no more? Hey, because I'm not gonna be up there singing a life that I'm not living.
Right.
Yeah, I could get up there and hold my ear, and I could tune up and tune down and all that too. I know how to do it, but guess what? I got too much reverence for God than to do it and not be living that life.
And that's the key. I think my pastor said that to me one time. He was like, you can't expect people to be accountable to you, and they're not accountable to God. So anytime our first accountability is always to God. So if that piece is not in place and that disconnect is not present, then you can't expect people to be accountable to you. So it's our responsibility, even as pastors and shepherds, before we demand accountability for other people, we've got to be in a position where, one, we're living what we're supposed to live, but then we're always pointing people back to God. Yeah. We're always pointing people back to Christ as an example, and not exalting ourselves as the example, as the model, as what you should be. Sure, Paul says, follow me as I follow Christ, but still that model was pointing them back to Christ as our ultimate example, right? So I think that's another piece, man, that really has to be in place. A lot of folks that don't want to submit to accountability, they're drawing people to them more than they're pointing people to God. And their mission and their ministry is more self-serving than it is really about serving the people. And they've lost, in my opinion, they've lost really the essence of why they went into ministry in the first place. Their motives need to be tested and challenged, and really, they need to be true to what the real motive is behind what they're doing. Because if you don't want to be accountable, you don't want someone that says, you know, I want to make sure that you're doing this the right way. I want to make sure that you have the right guidelines and things in place to ensure. I mean, so you go out here and you start this church, you got all this other stuff going on, stuff breaks out in your church, you caught up in scandal. Who actually has the ability to come back and set order in the church? If you don't have a pastor, if you don't have a covering, you're not submitted to anybody, right? And at the end of the day, we forget. Well, I'm hoping that we don't forget, but we have to stay mindful that, bro, you're dealing with the lives of people that at the end of the day, you're going to have to be accountable to God for how you dealt with his people.
Oh, everybody.
All of us. We're going to have to give an account, not just for what we did in our deeds, but for our words as well. How we spoke about, how we handle God's people. So it's like, man, you have to be accountable. You don't know everything, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. When you are judge, jury, and executioner, and there's nobody else in that system or in that chain as checks and balances, you set yourself up. You set yourself up to create your own standard of what righteousness is.
And if you ain't careful, that's how you get into the gospel of inclusion. That's how you get into the once saved, always saved, and all this other kind of stuff that's going on. And I'm not knocking nobody for how they believe, because your right to believe how you believe is the same as me, my right to believe how I believe. But like you say, and the sad thing about it, and I know you don't want to touch that, but the sad thing is you mentioned how, you know, sometimes they forget why they got into it and their motives.
Yeah.
I'm sad to say, bro, I think we live in a day and age where some people, it might be hard for you to understand, but some people not starting these churches because they want to be in the soul winning ministry.
Yeah.
They starting these churches because they want to build this building and grow big numbers. They don't care nothing about your soul, your everyday life, or your spiritual growth whatsoever.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're actually doing what they set out to do.
Yeah, but it's not.
Even though it should be about winning souls.
They're not about the mission. So
exactly, absolutely.
Christ's commission was not go ye therefore and have church. Go ye therefore and build buildings. Go ye therefore and start a nonprofit. That wasn't his mission. And that wasn't the commission that he gave us. The commission that he gave us was go ye therefore and make disciples, right? Go make disciplined followers. Followers of who? Followers of me, followers of the way. That's what they referred to the first century church. Many of them, they called them the followers of the way, right? So it was the model that Christ had actually laid out. So that's the other piece, man. We can't make disciples of ourselves. We have to make disciples of Christ. We have to teach people how to model. I'm not in the business of, I don't want 50 little Mitches running around the church. You know what I'm saying? I want folks that really emulate and show forth really what Christ was about. And now, of course, I am a disciple of Christ. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's I'm not saying it in that regard, but I'm just like, I want people to, my job as pastor is to connect people and point people back to God.
Yeah.
So
I'm just a tour guide on this. I ain't the final stop.
That's it.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to take you somewhere.
And
we got a final destination.
And my ultimate goal and my ultimate satisfaction is seeing you grow in that relationship with Christ, to see you mature, to see you start at one place and matriculate and to actually begin to walk in purpose. You know what I'm saying? That's it. If I can get you connected to God and connected to purpose, and then you actually begin to walk out in the purpose which God actually gave you, to me, my mission is accomplished. Because if you're walking in purpose, that means that you're a discipled or a disciplined follower of Christ. And you're walking in what he purposed for your life, man. So I think everybody needs that. Everybody needs a source of accountability. Everybody needs covering. I think Pastor Chrissy dropped it in the chat too. Without covering, man, you're uncovered. All of us need somebody that has our back, that has us covered, that has us protected, because there always are going to be days, man, when you can't fight for yourself. So when you can't fight for yourself, for you, who's praying for you, who's covering you? You're not that days, man, where you ain't gonna be Superman. You're gonna be Clark Kent, and Clark Kent needs somebody covering him. Because that kryptonite coming. So it's like, who covers you, man? Who fortifies you? Who builds you up? Everybody needs that. And if you feel like you don't need that, you don't need covering, you don't need accountability, you don't need to be responsible or accountable to anybody. Man, look at Jesus as our example. Even Jesus was still accountable to God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that legitimately, man. Everything I do to honor my Father. I don't do it for myself. Dude, he's God in the flesh. He could have pulled people to him. Even on the cross, he could have called legions of angels to come and take him off the cross. But because I'm submitted to the will of my Father, I say, Father, not my will, but thy will be done.
Nevertheless, that's one of my favorite words in the whole Bible.
This cup can't pass. This is a necessary part of why I was sent here to earth. And if that's what it is, then hey, so be it. I'm so submitted and committed to you, and committed to the purpose for which you sent me that I'm willing to die.
I like that. I like that. Ain't nowhere else to go from there, bro.
That's it.
Did you have anything you wanted to share with the people before you?
Man,
before
no,
you
I just want to say, man, I appreciate the opportunity. It's always good just to hang out, chat, and man, I love what you're doing, and I love the way that God is expanding your platform, man, and He's giving you this opportunity to kind of share with the people. And bro, just keep doing what you do, man. I think that the conversations are needful. I think the people benefit from it, and I'm looking forward to being able to come back at another time, another date, whenever Marvin said, "Bro, I need you." You know, I'm there.
Man, I sure appreciate you, man. That's why I love you, man. I love you because you got to know my idol. I was mad, and I keep saying before it's over, I'm gonna get you one day. I'm gonna go to Shelby or wherever his church at now. I'm gonna get me a picture with Bishop Borders so I can send it to you.
Yeah.
I never forget. Bishop sent me. I'm looking at my phone. I got a text from Bishop, and there's a picture of you two guys up in Ohio talking about. Do you know this fella here? I said, man, what Mitch doing with my Bishop, man?
Man,
I said, but you all right with me, man?
Man, he was a giant, man. And it's like every year I would see him at the college, and it's just like, it's just his stature, man, his demeanor, the way he carried himself, and the way that people honored and respected him. My pastor had the opportunity to preach at his church years ago, man, and he always was just an incredible, humble, generous, loving guy. I mean, we bumped into him one day in the airport, man. He just sat down and just had a conversation. Was waiting on a flight, man, and he was just always so humble, always just who he was. So I always just honored and respected that about him, man. So it's crazy that would be the connection that we would have as well. But yeah,
man. It's like, and it was funny because I swear I was out of commission for about a good 30, 45 minutes a day earlier, man. Just thinking about him, man.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, I got to get myself together for the show. But I mean, I was just breaking down like a baby because one of the things that I was thinking about, and I knew I wanted to talk to you about accountability. It just took me back to, like, every day I have a conversation with myself.
Mm.
Marv, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Because it's not about you being Bishop Jr.
Yeah.
But the same way that Bishop had that impact on your life, you're supposed to have that impact on someone else's life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what it's about. If we could ever just get to the point where we totally remove ourselves, what we ain't gonna do, what we not gonna put up with,
right?
You know what I'm saying, and get to the place where, like Jesus said, nevertheless, not my will,
but thy will be
your will be done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was like, man, it still baffles me sometimes. It blows my mind sometimes. But we gonna get there.
Yeah,
we gonna get there with the prayer with one another.
For sure.
I submit you guys prayers. Give them your information up there. Or how are you guys doing, Zoom or whatever?
Yeah, man. So we're still 100% virtual. So every Sunday we do what we call Live at 5. We're going to be shifting and moving from that 5 o'clock really, really soon. So, but you can find our church, Uncommon Church, on Facebook, Instagram, all of it's Uncommon Church. Yeah, YouTube, same thing, Uncommon Church. So yeah, check us out, man. I think YouTube actually is Uncommon Church CLT for Charlotte. But
Okay.
but man, they can come check us out anytime, man, online. And then when we do open back up and available for in-person services, love, man, have folk come, hang out, fellowship, whatever. It's
Yeah,
all
because
love.
I really got on a real tip. I got somebody I need you to meet. I got a young lady that lived that way. And I
Okay.
really want her to connect with you and Dana, man. I think it'll do us some real good to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
around some, to see some people, young people that really love the Lord and
Amen.
ain't, you know, so sanctified. It ain't nothing
Yeah.
wrong with being sanctified, but I like to know I can have a real conversation with somebody too. I don't need a
Yeah.
thesaurus
Yeah. To
every
understand
time we
what we're
have a
talking about.
conversation.
We ain't gotta have all these 5-syllable words, bro. Keep it simple for me. Yeah.
Like Noah Jones, I love him to death, but I never want to have a conversation with him.
Ah. Let me stop. I ain't gonna do it. Cause I got an impersonation, but I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna do it.
That's my guy, man. But having said all that, man, I love you, bro. And thanks for doing this, man.
Always, man.
Shout out to the Little Lady Blues.
Yeah.
Shout out to my sister Dane. I love you, miss you. I tell people all the time, man. Look, you all right with me, man. The only flaw you got a fine wife. You got 2 beautiful daughters. You're doing your thing.
Man.
We still praying on, man. I don't understand how a man of God could like any team called the Devils.
Listen,
I don't care what color they are, bro.
They the Blue Devils. They ain't the Red
Make
Devils.
that make sense. A devil is a devil.
It's all right.
A devil is a devil.
It's all right. It's all right, bro. It's good. That's the only time that the Lord and the devil agree. When we're talking about dude. That's it. I just need.
That's why he agreed we ought to get on up out of there, in that season early this year, right?
But listen, we needed a season of restoration. There are seasons where you got to be accountable for your sins, and we got some sins of the past that we got to deal with. So,
Coach K said, "Man, I ain't playing in no play-in game." Man, listen, that's the end. That's a wrap for us. We done. We go home.
They needed to go home, though, bro. They needed to go home. So I said, this is our year to kind of bag it up and regroup. Y'all had one last year. Come on.
Oh no, we done had some. We done had a whole bunch since Roy. I ain't even gonna get on that. I think I'm like the only Carolina fan that can't stand Roy Williams, yo. I don't care if he's in the Hall of Fame or not. I don't care if his name on the court. I do not like Roy Williams, yo.
I say y'all keep Roy as long as y'all need to. Because I'm like, this is the first time we don't got swept by Roy, I think, ever. So I'm like, nah.
Yeah, it's kind of up there. No, I think he got y'all that second year.
Did he get it the second year?
With Marvin Williams in there. Okay. We had 5 of the top 5 of the lottery players.
Got you.
Marvin Williams came off the bench, was the first one to go in the draft that year.
Yeah.
I said that was a crazy year. But even Roy couldn't mess that squad up.
Yeah.
Even Roy couldn't mess that one up.
Oh man.
But yeah, man, we definitely gonna get together soon, man. I'm gonna be in touch with you. Like I said, I want to talk about that when I had you back. The role of the Black church. What the role of the Black church when it comes to social matters and stuff of that nature. There, if you feel like they have a role whatsoever, I kind of wanted to get into that and get maybe into some more family stuff. And we just gonna have another conversation, man.
Listen, I look forward to it, man. Blessings to you, and keep doing what you do, bro. Look forward.
Man, I appreciate it, man. It means a lot coming from you, man.
Oh man, you that guy.
Man, I try, man. I try. I'm just a kid from Newark. I say that all the time. I'm just a kid from Newark, man.
Man, you're a kid from Newark with a call on his life. So that's the distinguishing factor, bro. So as long as you keep walking in that and keep pressing towards that, man, that's the key. Got to keep on pushing, man. Got to keep on keeping on, man. Yeah. Man, with that being said, man, I thank you guys for tuning in as usual. Thank you guys for watching and being part of the show. Thanks for all the comments. We'll be back here the same time next week. Like I said, y'all go over there and check out Soul of a Nation, ABC, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. And as usual, I'm signing off. DeAndre and Life should know that Daddy loves you intentionally, but I also love you unconditionally. Peace. For sure. Love y'all.